Better yet. Okay. Better yet. Excellent. Something? Okay. Power on the bottom. Okay. Always exciting to get going here. So, first thing, thank you so much to Efren and to Amanda and to the UCLA Anderson School Entrepreneurship Program. I've actually been lucky enough to be here a few times and meet some students, and I've always been blown away by how amazing the students at UCLA are. So it's very fun to give the first demo that we're actually going to go live on our system with here. So I'm going to show you Namesake. And Namesake is something that we've been working on for a while. Before I get into it, I wanted to give you a tiny bit of background. First about me and my co-founder and our team. And then I'll tell you a little bit about what we're doing, but very quickly jump into the demo. So I'm actually your more classic college dropout entrepreneur, so don't be like me. But over time, started a few companies, and one of the recent ones was called Nuru that we sold to News Corp and ended up moving to LA. And in moving to LA, as you saw with a bunch of these demos, we've discovered all these people who are working at the intersection of technology and media who are creating things but don't have good tools to do so. Then after leaving News Corp, we started a company called Adly, my co-founder Brian Norgard and I, and then we've jumped right in and been building Namesake. So Namesake is a tool for creators. It's a tool to help people who want to build things, which is probably most of you, being tech entrepreneurs and MBA students who are about to go out in the world and build things, to help make them more effective. Now, there's some things that work very well on the net, commoditized things, right? You want to buy and sell, stock options, you want to buy and sell oil, works very well. Specialized things don't. You need to build trust with people, and then you need to talk about what those specialized things are. So that's what we've been building Namesake, as both a community, but also a better marketplace. So I'll jump in and show you what I'm actually talking about here. So what you see here, hopefully the screen, it's a little red, but you'll get the idea. What we have here is a feed. It's a stream that looks a lot like the sort of stream you'd see on any other site, right? So you have, somewhere to post in the stream, and then you have a bunch of things going on in the stream. And there are two types of things that we have in the Namesake stream. First, conversations. And they're conversations about what people are working on in business or in other topics. Then secondly, we have opportunities. So I'll tell you a little bit about both conversations and about opportunities, how they work in our world. So first thing you see here in my stream are a few conversations. So you see, looking to raise $1.4 million in Series A investment in the current market, should we be seeking angels or VCs? Then we see an opportunity. LA startup needs a lead developer, and so on. So this is in our actual live community. These are posted, various items that are posted today that are appearing in my stream because they're in my social network or because they're relevant to me. So let's look at them specifically. First and probably most important are the conversations. You've all seen sites. How many of you use Twitter? How many of you use Facebook? So pretty much everyone here has used both of these. Now, Facebook is very much about your personal network, your friends, that sort of thing. And Twitter is very much about broadcasting things out. So you say, hey, here's what I'm doing, here's what I'm working on. But not a lot of conversations about topics going on where you could ask a question like, in the current market, should we be seeking angels or VCs for this? So I'm going to hop into this conversation, and we'll take a look. And you see various people who are on the site in our tiny, we have a small beta. Small number of people have been invited so far, but they're very active. So in this conversation, you see people are discussing what Anthony should actually do. So having seen some of these conversations, I'm going to hop out for a second, and we'll actually post one of our own. And I'm sort of hoping here that a few community members will hop in. We'll wait till we get back to the home page. So I'll start a conversation. What should UCLA MBA students who want to start tech startups know. I'm at UCLA now. So I think I'm actually on the lav, right? I'll keep talking. Great. So we just posted this conversation. And one of the things I'm going to do is then invite a few people who I think might actually be relevant. So I'll invite Scott. I can't type Scott. Scott Herf, Mike Viamari, and I'll invite Ed. So I'm inviting a few people. Now it turns out, right when I posted it, based on some of the expertise, some of the topics in it, and my social network, it went into a bunch of people's streams. But I can also call out people like this and say, hey, I think that they'll have specialized expertise. So now it's going out. I'll give it a few seconds for some people to reply. So you ask, why do we do this? The core idea here is that through conversations, through talking about business, through talking about their life, through talking about what's going on, people start to meet each other, they start to know each other, and they start to build trust. Now you see that pop-up. There are pop-ups coming on my screen saying that people are starting to reply to my conversation. So if I actually go into this conversation, I see, so Jeff Potter, don't spend a lot of time writing a business plan. Understand your business model, but a detailed plan will be a waste because it won't survive contact with the customer. I hope you didn't learn too much about writing B plans in class. It's all about product market fit. Startups aren't like, and so on. So people here, as you see these, keep appearing on the screen. Cam, who I saw come in here, so she's in the audience somewhere. She runs Coloft, which is one of the sponsors of this, said, just do it. Mike Viamari, a lot is said about the product for search. So people are jumping into the conversation and participating. So what happens is we have live conversations around all these topics. I'll scroll because people are jumping in. I won't even say thanks now. I'll just let them keep talking for a second. People participate in conversations, and over time, just like you do in networking events, in real business, in the real world, this is real business, in business offline, you start to meet people, you start to know people, and you start to build trust. You learn people are experts, and you build trust. So as we do this, I can start to learn stuff. So Ed Stapleton, I'm going to say, hey, I want to learn a little bit more about him. I've been in some conversations with him. I've conversed back and forth. Let's learn something about Ed. Turns out Ed is a guy I know who runs a green car service, mostly in New York. So if we look at his profile, we see that, hey, he has a bunch of different expertise he's declared. He has various industry contacts, followers, and so on. And I'm going to endorse him for, let's say, eco-friendly. Ed knows green transportation. And people are still jumping into my conversation. So now what I've done is I've publicly endorsed Ed saying, hey, I know that he's an expert at that topic. So over time, people start to build trust. Then they can publicly signal that trust and show their networks. So that's really letting you create all sorts of things in business. Create trust, which lets you start to do deals and start to do things that you couldn't otherwise. Plus, it turns out to be really fun. So once you've built that trust, what do you do? How do you turn that into actual business, right? How do you do transactions? How do you make it something real? And that's the second half of Namesake. So once you've had all these conversations and had a lot of fun, how do you do those sorts of real things? The second piece we have are opportunities, which are saying, hey, this is what I'm looking for. And the community, using their social graph, can help. So I'll say, looking for scalability, let's say, DevOps expert for deployment. So here's a need we have for our business. Namesake needs someone who can help us build a deployment system for a lean startup. Now I can say, what type of opportunity is it? Well, we'll say it's a full-time job. It's in the internet business in Los Angeles, California. They need to know Python, Linux, Redis, and Cassandra. I'll put some of the same people. Scott Herf. We saw Cam here. She's in the audience. And I'm going to post it out. Now, if I wanted, I could cross-post this to my Twitter and Facebook. I'm going to skip it because we don't have terribly much time. This just went out to my social network. So what I'm doing is I'm asking them for help, and people can route it to the appropriate people. So while some people reply to that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at some of my other opportunities, some of the ones that I've seen in my network. And what I see here, while it loads, are people looking for all sorts of specific things. So LA startup needs a lead developer, CTO, graphic designer, product manager, looking for a developer to work. Now I could route that across my social graph and say, here are the relevant people. Here are the people who need to know about this particular thing. And I can then say, you should be looking at this particular opportunity. So in a second, network's a little slow, I will send this to someone who's relevant, let's say to, I'll send that to Amanda, who we saw emceeing here. And that will send it along. So now I'm going to go back for a second to my opportunity as sort of a final piece, and we'll see how it's going. So I'm looking for a DevOps expert, and I actually just saw a message pop up saying, Jeff Potter applied to my opportunity. And I also just saw Scott Herf routed me some other opportunity. So right after sending this out, people here applied. Hey, Dan, I'd love to join you guys. Should I send over my resume? And we can communicate. And people across my social network are asking questions. Are you looking for more developer types or more sysadmin types? So what we're doing is letting transactions happen using your social graph. So we'll take one final look back at our feed. And while it loads, we'll see that I saw some messages flash on that some people actually routed me real opportunities that have been posted on the system. So Jess Ivey posted, Hulu is looking for a Rocket Rich Media Flash developer designer. So Hulu was looking for someone here, and because I know Jess, or actually I don't know Jess, I know someone who knew Jess, who routed it to me, I got sent that opportunity. So what we're trying to do is build a community of really amazing people who are getting things done. And what we've seen so far is massive engagement. We've only invited a small number of people to our site so far, but a huge number of them are spending a lot of time each day on the site, communicating with people, meeting people, and getting deals done. And we're really excited to help all the creators in the LA community and sort of in the entrepreneurial community as a whole make and build better things. It's going to be amazingly fun. So just to finish up, I was going to say, while we have about 25,000 people on the waiting list, anyone who gives me a card or finds some of our friends standing back up there from Namesake, so Scott Herf, Mike Viamari, we have some friends here too, Jeff Potter. If you find them, hand them a card. We'll put you in one of the really early beta groups and give you an invite soon, because I've really enjoyed hanging out with the TechZulu and UCLA community, and we're really excited to have a bunch of you on. So, any questions?
So, can you see the posts of only the people that are that you know personally, or everybody?
Yeah, so right now there is a public feed, and you can see anything going on in the public feed. What happens is things that appear in your stream start with your social